Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Thank you guys for all coming down here today. My name is Jezieel Cortes. I'm the Deputy Procurement Officer for Design and Construction for the City of Chicago, Department of Procurement Services. And this is a real high-level basic what we do here in the city and how to respond to requests for proposals, which we call RFPs. And there's two separate types of proposal responses. A lot of these for proposals or qualifications are tied to professional services contracts, whether it's construction management, design, engineering, anything of that nature. We also have RFPs that are issued for work served contracts, sometimes for material contracts, and it's all based on the type of procurements. Again, my name is Jezieel Cortes. I am on the side of infrastructure, so the departments that I work with are CDOT, Water, 2FM, the facilities, buildings, planning and development, and we work on all the infrastructure for the city of Chicago. The only things that I do not touch are the two airports. Everything else is within my footprint. And so I just want to welcome everyone coming down here. Thank you guys for coming. This is our procurement symposium. This is one of the two large events that the Department of Procurement Services does. The first one is the Construction Summit, which is held usually in March. And then we'll have another one next year in March. And you'll probably see me on that one as well. That's usually like my pride and joy for most of these presentations because we do a lot of construction work there. And so we just, like a general response here, we are the Department of Procurement Services, which is committed to communications and outreach, which is key in keeping citizens informed of bid opportunities, new programs, and innovations. So the important part of our department is being very clear, very transparent with our processes. We are by law required to advertise all of our procurements. Everything is put out on the paper. Everything is put out on our city website. There's a lot of valuable information that's out there. I want to make sure that you guys take advantage of all the material that's out there. We have the consolidated buying plan that gives you like an 18-month preview of all the proposed contracts coming down the pipeline. It's broken down by types of services and departments and sections. So there's sister agencies, there's city departments in there. They break it down by professional services, commodities, construction, work services, all of that. It's all color-coded, and it's also available to download as an Excel, so you could kind of search through it and kind of pick the things that you may be interested in looking. Now again, it is a proposed kind of fluid dates that are in there, so if something is on there and it's slated for fourth quarter this year, it could or could be pushed out slightly out, depending on the priorities for the departments. And then we really encourage you to jump on our city website. We have updates, news, calendar events. We do a lot of workshops out there. Basic stuff, you know, how to get registered, how to get certified. You know, once I'm certified, what do I do now? We have an online presence, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. And we also, like I said before, we distribute all of our submittals and our solicitations on newspapers, so it's on the Trib. So you guys could definitely check the section in the back. And it's every day. We usually have postings every day in the Tribune. Again, these are very valuable documents that we have here. They're resource guides, and they're kind of broken up into 4 sections. We have our MWBE, so if you guys are interested in getting certified, there's a program that shows you how to do it, what that does, what kind of advantages and incentives are tied to those programs. Getting certification is a general resource. Incentives and programs, which is based on our bid incentives for low bid contracts, where if you're a city-funded contract, your bid is artificially reduced slightly to make it more competitive for city businesses to get contracts. And then we also have just a base standard procurement fundamentals guide. All of those are available here, or there is a smaller QR code card that you could take, scan those, and you could download those docs. It's much easier instead of, unless you want to take bags home, which they're giving like 100 bags out here for free. So we do have all of these programs. They are downloadable, or you can take hard copies here with you. Today's workshop, we ask that any questions kind of be held at the end so we can kind of get some full responses in there. It's a very high level presentation just on the RFP process for the city, like some of the legal mandates that we have. This is kind of catered towards like a webinar session, so there's some things on here like, you know, don't talk or mute, everyone's muted. That doesn't really apply here, so I'm sorry they kind of left that in here. So this is Contracting 101. It's how to respond to a request for proposal, and we put out a ton of different proposals here for the city of Chicago. Like I said, a lot of times professional services is the main kind of dish that these are kind of geared towards. And then this is what we're going to kind of talk about. And our goals at a glance, just from the very high level, is just what our department does, tips for finding them, what is an RFP versus a competitive bid, the proposal format, the content, the evaluation criteria, how to prepare an RFP proposal, and an eProcurement submission, and then the eventual proposal evaluation and award. And these are kind of very, especially the eProcurement system and kind of the tips are very important because it gives you an idea of what you're going to see in some of these proposals when they're put out for advertisement. So DPS is the contracting authority for the city of Chicago. We work with all the departments, and 90% of procurements come through our department and are solicited publicly. Some departments do have their own contracting authority and can't put things out by themselves, but for the most part, most contracts come through us in order for us to vet the specifications and put them out for advertisement. So, tips for finding opportunities. Most bids for the city of Chicago valued over $100,000 are advertised. We do have programs or contracts where it's small dollar value, but we're mandated by code to bid all of this work out. We follow the Illinois procurement code. We post everything weekly on our city site. There is a Monday, there's an update that happens every Monday, and it's the bid opportunity list, and that will contain all the opportunities that are currently listed, whether it's a construction, work serve, professional services, or you can request that you be put on a receipt list through our bid and bond room, and we still have a bid and bond room at 121, room 103, so you can definitely make a phone call there, or if you just register for the city bid alerts, you will receive updates of projects as they come out. The buying plan, which I mentioned before, and registering for DPS alerts is very important because it gives you a heads up. It'll let you know as soon as a project is out there on the city website. And then attending pre-bids and pre-bid conferences. Us at the city, we like to be very transparent with these projects, and we want to provide as much and ample information as we can. Now, given that these are projects and solicitations open to the public, we do have what are called pre-proposal conferences or pre-bids for low bid projects, and those are basically informational sessions, very high level on the project. We usually bring in the user department that's issuing the procurement, the Department of Procurement Services ourselves, and we bring in folks from our certification and compliance team to talk about the compliance portion of those contracts. So the MWVBE requirements, or if it's a federal funded, we talk about the DBE requirements on those contracts. We kind of give you a very high level overview of what's required, how to submit it, to make sure that you're looking for certain documentation that's in there, and making sure you're submitting your complete packages. And we do have the takeout list, which is posted on the DPS website. The takeout list is important because it allows you to see what companies are interested in what specifications are out there. So if you're looking to network, that will show you who's actually been pulling the actual solicitations and looking to see if they're interested in bidding, or maybe you're interested in coming together as a team to bid on a project. So these are the laws that I was speaking about earlier. The Municipal Purchasing Act is what is the state statute that governs the city's procurement policies and practices. Now, being that we have home rule, there is some rules within the city government that allows us to do procurements on our own, but we still follow the base Illinois Municipal Purchasing Act, and it's Chapter 292 of the Municipal Code that allows us and governs the purchasing requirements. So these are some basic procurement terms. In the private sector versus city, some of this stuff is the same, but it may be kind of slightly different. Bid package is just a document set that we put out for advertisement and for response. An addendum is a change to what we've already put out there. If we have a contract that's advertised and say we end up pushing the due date, we have to issue by law an addendum, and we allow 10 days from the addendum issuance to the bid opening date. And that addendum is usually some kind of a change, an actual change, whether we're swapping out a cover sheet, editing a title, responding to a question, which then constitutes a change to, say, the spec. And we're changing, you got spec books or spec documents, it'll be issued through an addendum. We also issue clarifications, which are just responses to maybe questions, like general questions, or something where we could reference right back into the document. It doesn't require an actual change. So we issue those too. Those addendums get posted in the paper. Clarifications do not. They go directly to the bidders who have actually taken out the bid list already. What is a contract? I'm sure you guys are very familiar. Just a written agreement between the city and the vendor for the services or goods that are being contracted for. Amendment, modification, which are basically the same thing. An amendment is mostly used on a professional service contract. Modifications are used mostly on construction contracts, even though it's the same thing. It's just a change to the contract, whether you're adding quantity, reducing quantity, increasing scope, decreasing scope, or making a change to timelines. And some of the types of procurement the city does. Small orders, which are procurements of $250,000 and less. Competitive bids, which is the meat and potatoes of most of the construction work that we do. And those projects can range anywhere from $250,000 all the way up to $1 billion, really depending on the type of construction project. We also do job order contracting that run through my section as well. We use the Gordian system for a JOC program. A lot of departments have their own JOC contracts. JOC is job order contracting. It's a fixed price bidding system where there's a CTC, a construction task catalog of pre-priced items, and the work is created through a small proposal with already these pre-priced fixed items. And then, of course, RFPs, which are requests for proposals, not to be confused as a request for pricing, and request for qualifications, which is a qualification-based, usually used to set up a pool of approved contractors. So for RFQs are only done on professional services. We can't do it on construction. Excuse me. Unfortunately, right now, so we're working on an update to the municipal code that will allow us to possibly cycle through contractors for an RFQ for construction-based. What is a RFP versus a bid? So, like I stated before, a request for proposal is we're hiring a professional to deliver services, whether it's consulting, engineering, design, CM services. A lot of departments will do construction management contracts. We can set those up in different types. We can set them up as target market, where only certified firms can submit bids on, or we can set them up as open procurements where anyone can bid on. Or sometimes we do mirrored procurements where we have one for a target market or we have one for a non-target market. Competitive bid is just a purchase, straight purchase, and it's usually a low bid, straight low bid contract, completely dealing with money. RFPs, you're also getting a cost, but you're also evaluating the proposal that's submitted. Now, bid specs do have, when it's a low bid contract, they are providing you a complete line item description of what they're needed. So you're bidding on line item by line item for a total cost. When you talk about an RFP, you're looking at the proposal of what you believe to be the intended scope of work based on the general scope and how you're delivering those services. There will also be an evaluation that's done through the EC committee that is set on the front end. And the EC committee can be department heads, other sister agencies that we bring in to evaluate those proposals when they come in. For competitive bid, again, those are just lowest responsible bidder, and you just have to meet the city code requirements based on the review of the bid tab and a recommendation from the city department or agency. For an RFP, the vendor is ranked. There's a ranking and a scoring matrix that is set up. So the highest ranked vendor based on their price and the proposal package that's submitted, full understanding of the scope, they rank them from 1 to 5, or depending on how many contracts they're trying to get out. Okay. So on the RFP, a lot of the content could be standardized depending on the project. Like I was stating before, there could be city-funded projects where it has city terms and conditions, or state-funded grant funding, where those federal provisions could be the leading factor in how that contract is awarded. We also would have compliance goals on these contracts. So MB, WB, VBE. Currently, the VBE has just recently been increased from 1% to 3%. It was a pilot program, and now it's a full VBE program, where it's a 3% VBE participation on most contracts, depending, of course, on the available pool of vendors for that. MW and VBE will apply to city-funded contracts. The DBE goals will apply to state and Fed funded contracts, and usually those goals are all be set up on the front end of the contract so you know exactly how much of that participation will be required. If it's DBE, some of our local programs and incentives are not applicable. We can't apply city preferences on any DBE funded contracts, so some of the preferences like the local city business preference or some of the diverse workforce or the CRO or PAR are not included within those contracts. So for eProcurement, eProcurement is our tool system that we use for the submission of the proposals. The proposals that we request folks to be submitted always have to be word searchable. Sections should be organized in the way that the proposal is requesting the information. So if they're requesting a cover letter, organization chart, the responses should follow that kind of table of contents. And then proposals must be clear, concise, and well organized. What we're trying to do is avoid just a bunch of documents being PDF'd and sent in as one attachment. We like to have them organized. So usually what we do on the RFPs, there's sections that state the requirements and it tells you where they should be kind of attached. We hope that most respondents can apply and respond in that same manner. And these are some of the proposal content information that you'll see on most of the RFPs that are issued through the City of Chicago. Like I said before, the cover letter is very important because it gives you the summary and the intent to bid on the project. A lot of times they will ask that it be signed by a president, vice president, or someone with signature authority, and it should be included with the proposal package. Executive summary, professional qualifications, work plan, implementation plan, cost proposals, your schedules, financial statements, an EDS, which is the economic disclosure statement, and that's on every contract and every amendment or modification of a contract. We also request any kind of legal actions to be disclosed within the last 5 years, and insurance. Sometimes for the insurance, it may just be the ability to be insured by your insurance agency, saying that you are able to cover the requirements for the insurance for that project. That insurance could change depending on the type of project. So some provisions could be included, some may be removed, like professional paper, the IT professional services, or anything like that. For the evaluation of these, we review each and every single one of these proposals when they come in. Some projects, we could get 60 proposals that are submitted. Some projects may only receive 2. So we do take time and we do review each one of these. We're looking for the professional qualifications. The city department always does a preliminary review. So we look at the initial submission documents, making sure that you're submitted the required documents for the submittal. So we make sure that there's a cover letter that's signed. We make sure that you have a compliance plan if it's required. We make sure the insurance cert is there if we're asking for an insurance cert. Some of the things are the things that could get you bumped or your proposal rejected if you don't have at minimum the required documents that are in there. So for the professional qualifications, we're looking for current and past performance records. That's always going to be a requirement. They'll ask you for any type of similar work that's been done, or if you're currently working on anything, and any licenses or certifications required for those specialties. For specialized experience and availability of key personnel, there's always going to be resumes that are required, a breakdown of your org chart, the implementation or work plan, meaning how you intend to deliver the services, a cost proposal tied, so that could include, it could include the overhead rates, your current rates. If you have an IDOT rate already, you would include that IDOT certification on your rate. You would include also a compliance plan. If we're asking you to meet certain goals on a contract, you would submit your MWVB documentation stating who you're intending to subcontract as an M or W, how much percentage you're going to be working on, and what exactly they're going to do to reach that goal. Financial statements, it's usually a couple years of financial statements to make sure that the company is able to bring and take on the contract. And some of the other items that are important are the compliance with the laws and the ordinances. You always have to check off if you have any issues with the T's and C's. EDS certification, again, the legal actions, and a conflict of interest document. And so these are just some tips for preparing the RFP proposal. The exhibit form must be completed as part of the proposal submission. Will vary depending on the RFP. But some examples are, it's just going to ask you for company profile information, some references, your compliance plan, the EDS, which is required in all of our procurements, and an insurance certificate. Now, if the insurance certificate does not have the full coverages, we will require it at the time of contract award in order to move over and award the contract. So we may come back and say, hey, can you provide us the full document at that time? And then, of course, making sure that your team or your firm acknowledges any addendums that are issued. Like I said, those are usually issued via the system as well, so there is an electronic notification, and you can definitely acknowledge those in the system. The eProcurement submissions. So like I said before, the eProcurement system is the city's system for the submission of projects and proposals. It's an electronic submission-based system. If some of you guys had done this before, you actually have to come to a bid and bond room and drop off CDs or paper documents. So we've finally moved away from that. We're not as technically advanced as some other agencies, but we're finally moving to the electronic route. iSupplier is a system where you register. So if you guys are not registered yet as suppliers, I would definitely say go on to the iSupplier website, register your business, make sure that you're getting the DPS alerts as well. The registration takes about 3 days, so we hope that if you're interested in a project, you don't try and register the day before it's due or 2 days before due, because it does take about 3 days for it to get approved. And you want to make sure that you pay attention to any of the RFP instructions or the requirements. Again, the cover letter is very important. A lot of firms do not get it signed, and that automatically is a rejection of your proposal just by not signing. So please make sure you do that if you are interested in submitting any proposal responses. And then there is a checklist for submittal documents in there, but we always make sure that you make your own to double check and make sure that you're submitting everything within those requirements. There are some resources for submissions. The eProc RFQ can be downloaded through this URL. And if you guys, like I said before, some of the documents over here have the plain documentation, you could definitely pull that info down, and that'll help you kind of give you some ideas of what you're looking to supply, what's on there, the current bids available. Like I said, the DPS alerts will give you that information, but then you would have to be registered in iSupplier to actually submit a proposal. There's the register iSupplier link also as well. The addendum documents that are usually posted in eProc. For any pre-bid conferences, all that information is within the advertisements. So you'll see it there. It'll tell you where it's at. If you have to pre-register prior, it may ask you to bring a driver's license if we're going to a secure location. And so that's how you get the information of how to attend the conferences. The city takeout list is an important tool because this is the one that lets you know, like I said before, what firms have actually taken these projects out and how you can actually possibly either contact them directly or be in touch for any kind of subcontracting or joint venture opportunities. We do have a eProc workshop schedule, and it's on our city website. The documents that we have over there actually have the entire schedule, and you could just do the QR scan code, and it'll give you all the info there that you can kind of go from there, see the videos, and kind of understand the process and the way the submissions are done. And then we also have the instructional documents, and it's a lot of online training materials. Again, the QR doc there has everything that you need. We put them on here, just a lot of folks like taking pictures of them, which is perfectly fine. But we have that information available virtually as well. So let's see. So for proposal evaluation and award, respondents, when the city receives responses, we post all the firms that actually provide responses to all of our proposals. But there's not any other information that's set up. So the only thing you'll see is the firm's name of who submitted, because those proposals are sealed. You can request these information. All FOIAs are usually held, if it's still open, all FOIAs are usually held after the award. And you can get debriefs if you're not selected, but you would have to directly send an email or a letter to the CPO requesting a debrief. Our evaluation committee has 3 phases for evaluating proposals. We have the preliminary assessment, which is phase 1. Phase 2 is the evaluation with the EC committee. And phase 3 would be, if required, site visits, demonstration, or presentations, and those are, of course, if required. Vendor selection and declination letters are sent to respondents, if when applicable. And the city, and we just put it out there, is not obligated to award a contract at any time. It's under their discretion. And then contract award, of course, is contingent on the successful negotiation. So RFPs still have a negotiation phase at the tail end to make sure that we have a full understanding of the scope and that we have a full understanding of your costs and services. Oh, that's it. Okay. I'm sorry, I thought there were 2 more pages, but I guess not. So like I said before, we're on social media. They have a lot of our workshops available online. The QR code documents over there have the breakout with all the 4 main components. They're books, and those have a lot of information that's in there. I know this is just very high level because the RFPs that we put out are different from each other. So some RFPs may ask for more information required than others, but it's definitely kind of key to, if you use the city website, you can go in on past contracts and past projects that have already been solicited. It's very key to jump in there. It's a free tool to understand what has been looked for before, what has been advertised before, and how you could possibly put together a proposal on your end for any new projects. And so we like to tie any new projects with our 18-month list that we have of projects coming down the pipeline. So anything that we have currently now is on our list. We have projects that come in constantly. So that list, like I said before, is very fluid on any of those projects. From professional services to commodities to construction. We have a lot of projects currently coming down the pipeline. Even though we are in a kind of a budget issue currently, we still have a lot of money that we're using on infrastructure related procurements, whether it's CM services, design, consulting, engineering, construction, any of that nature. The professional service could be anything from IT, health, insurance, anything of that nature that we kind of do all around for the city of Chicago. And that is it. So we'll open it up for questions. If anyone has any specific questions or if you need to get some more information. Like I said before, I am on the side for construction and infrastructure, so I'm all on the engineering, design, architectural, and actual vertical construction, horizontal construction. So if you guys have any questions, please yes ma'am.
If we come in later or somebody else wants a copy of these slides, will these slides be available?
Yeah, these will be available, yes. Yeah, we can send them out.
Okay, will they be on the DPS website?
They'll put them on the DPS website, yeah. Okay. So they'll be able to pull down from there.
Thank you.
Definitely. Yes ma'am.
Does the procurement office accept meetings from vendors? Like if a vendor wanted to meet with you to kind of pitch, any sales opportunities or like, hey, we have these resources using the city of Chicago would benefit from?
So there is a pilot procurement program on the city website where you can pitch a no cost. It has to be of no cost. Now, if you're just saying, hey, we can provide these, I'm just going to say engineering services, right? There won't be anything where we'll be able to contract on that method because for the city, we always have to do open procurements. We have to solicit the work publicly. We can definitely put you in contact with user departments, kind of make introductions, provide you any information if you're looking to jump on a contract or how can I do this, what I do this, where do you think I would be most impactful in? We could definitely do those kind of introductions. Like if you're looking to, put your foot in the door as a subcontractor, we could provide you a list of awarded contracts for the types of work that you do, and then it would be onto the your firm to kind of reach out and make that connection with the prime contractor. We can definitely, and I know there's actually there's a session here today, so you guys are into. There are some prime contractors here, and it's kind of like a speed date thing they have going on for like 10 minutes. So you could kind of give them your card, give them your information, let them know what you do, and maybe that could create some connections there. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
When we upload our information to the eProcurement, do our files have to be separated, or can it be one large PDF?
So it could be one large PDF. The only problem though is depending on the size of the PDF, that upload could be quite rigorous, and sometimes you may get errors on the submission. So if you're able to break it up, depending on the size of it, I think 250 meg is the largest file size in a single upload. Some files may be even larger than that. If you do have to break it up, we prefer that you actually notate, like, section 1, section 2, MWB compliance plan, just so we have an understanding of that. We're going to look at everything that's submitted anyway, so there's nothing that's going to stop us from, it's not going to keep you out if we ask for one upload, but you can't do it in one, you do it in 2 or 3. So there's nothing that's not going to stop your submittal from being reviewed.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Questions? Yes, ma'am.
So regarding connecting with prime contractors
Mhm.
and the subcontractors, is that something that's on the procurement website, or can you give some direction on where we would find that list for subcontractors?
You're talking as a sub yourself,
Yes.
like you're trying to get in contact with primes.
Yes.
So what I said, an important thing that we have is all of our contracts are visible online. So if you already are providing a service that, in all understanding, you already know the city seeks every few years, awarded contracts is a good way to understand who previously held it and who they probably had on their team. So if you're trying to respond to an RFP in the future, I myself would always look at what historically has been awarded, who's been working on those contracts. And I would assume the same companies a lot of times are always jumping on the same contract. A lot of those contracts are very cyclical in nature, right? So meaning every 4 to 7 years, we're looking for these same services. So if you're able to look at the past performance on these contracts, and all that information is online, you can then have an idea of, okay, Jezieel Incorporated is always the company that's bidding on this contract. They're always getting this contract. I'm going to reach out to Jezieel Incorporated, let them know of my services capability. Maybe we can connect there at a subcontracting level, either on the current contract, because primes can always keep adding subs. There's no problem with that. Removal of subs is another thing. If it's a compliance base, it's always good for them, because if they could spread that wealth across a lot of minority and women-owned firms, it's always good for them. So having firms that are certified is an incentive to the prime contractors, because they have to hit certain contract requirements. So whether it's 30% MB participation, 7% WBE participation, or VBE, they're incentivized to bring you on board, because by contract, by requirement, they have to have you on the contract, and you have to perform on the contract. And then if you are if an RFP is issued as a target market, you already have a foot in, because if you're certified, only certified firms can submit on those contracts. Those are basically set-aside contracts that we have set up, and the CPO every year allocates a certain percentage of all the contracts that we issue out as target market. And if we don't do target market, we have set-asides for construction, which is like the SBI, MBI program, where it's race and gender neutral. But if you're already certified, you have a foot in, because you're already in the program. You're assumed to be a small business or a medium-sized business. I mean, just to give you an idea, my construction team, in the last, 8-9 months, we've awarded about 1.6 billion in contracts. And those are just awards, right? Not that we paid out, there's just awards. Some contracts are DUR, meaning depending upon requirement. So even if the contract's valued 20 million, you may not get the 20 million. You may get 5, you may get 10. It just depends on how much the user department needs that contract. Those set limits, and we'll be able to award it at certain term limits. But then depending on the usage, it may be increased, it may be extended, and that's how for the most part it works. But that going on previous contracts, and then the network session that they're going to be having would be key. And then if you need, we can definitely introduce. We can't direct, we can introduce on behalf of the department and subcontractors. Yeah, sure. Any other questions? No questions?
Does this session reset after all your questions have been answered?
No, I think it's just
Start over? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a good grasp on the schedule.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was for 10:30.
think a lot of us were in the auditorium.
Yeah.
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 So I could stay here. I don't know what's coming in after me, but I mean I could definitely answer any kind of RFP, RFQ, bid, quiet type of questions you may have. I got no problem with that. But I mean in general, the RFP process is open procurement. It's proposals. RFP is cost based. RFQ is qualification based for a potential pool of contractors, and usually a rotation based of task orders that are issued. We call them task orders, are just smaller contracts. And then of course just straight low bids where cost is the only factor. If city funded, we have city-based incentives that could artificially reduce your bid down to kind of give you an edge. If it's federally funded, it's just a straight cost bid, and there's DB requirements on those. But we have, like I said, we have the little placard that has all the QR codes with all those books in there. Has the buying plan also attached on there. The buying plan is key because if you already, like if you don't mind, what kind of services do you do right now?
Educational consultant.
Okay, so CPS.
Yes.
Perfect client, right? CPS is one of our sister agencies. They have their procurements on there, right? So if it's not something that you see that you fall within the confines of that work you do, you could always check their past awarded contracts and see when the new contracts theoretically are up for rebid, right? A lot of contracts have term limits, 5 years, 3 years, 7 years. We're trying to cycle more of those so that we get more contractors in. So we're trying to reduce those slightly. So, 5-year max contracts, 3-year base terms, maybe a 2-year extension option. It's kind of like where we're heading to overall, depending, of course, on the complexity, right? So if it's like a project management office contract, you're really not going to get your feet wet till maybe 2 years into the contract term. So those contract terms may be 5 years base with maybe a 5-year option. There may be others based on the complexity, but CPS has some of the procurements in that book. I would say look in there and then look at what the past awards have been. We can definitely, like I said, we can make intros with other sister agencies as well if you're trying to get your foot in the door with a company. We can't guarantee the work, of course, right? But we're giving you the opportunity to have that on your side.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions? P's and Q's? Nothing. Nothing at all. Wow. Yes.
Would owner's representative services for construction, is that classified as professional services, or is it an umbrella under construction? Could you find that under?
It would be possibly, it could be under ProServe. For construction, I know for say like the airport, they have their construction managers at risk. They control a large pool of money and deliver a ton of projects. They submit their procurements separately from the city because they're under a GMP to award the contract. So they're under a total dollar value that they need to provide the project for. So maybe if it's $1 billion, they then procure all their separate contracts to get to that $1 billion project separately. So there may be, I know the water department sometimes puts some PMO stuff out, CDOT for sure, aviation, some of the larger infrastructure departments definitely. And they would see it as a professional service. Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? Yeah. Nope. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoy and thank you guys for coming out. Please take all the resources you can because we really don't want to carry none of this stuff back. So go ahead and take it all with you if you can. We appreciate it.